In today's video, we're going to be talking about how scoring differences in FanDuel versus DraftKings impact our optimizer. Now that we've talked about the differences between FanDuel versus DraftKings scoring, we need to touch on how this will actually impact our strategy. Since we will be creating a mathematical model eventually, this can be easily adjusted. However, it will be helpful to take a moment to think about what we expect to change before jumping into it. I generally recommend this for any math problem or application of math concepts. I found it very helpful to think about what result you expect ahead of time, so you'll have some idea at the end if something went horribly wrong and your answer is not even reasonable. Unfortunately, this happens sometimes. But if you recognize it, you'll have the chance to fix the error instead of, in this case, submitting several paid DFS lineups based on a flawed system. For reference, here's a breakdown of everything that gets points for an MLB contest on both sites. First, let's talk about the differences for hitters between FanDuel and DraftKings. Both sites give you plus 3 points if your player hits a single. However, on FanDuel, all extra base hits are worth more than they are on DraftKings. Also, getting a walk or hit by pitch is worth the same as a single in FanDuel, while DraftKings only gives plus 2 points for those. This, as well as some of the other differences, mean that, relatively speaking, a player getting extra base hits and creating runs for their team through RBI, runs, stolen bases, and getting on base without hits is more valuable on FanDuel than that player is on DraftKings. Instead, a player with a lot of singles would have a relatively higher value on DraftKings. So we might expect stats like on-base percentage, slugging percentage to be more correlated to fantasy points on FanDuel, and a stat like batting average to be more correlated to fantasy points on DraftKings. Now let's get into some differences between pitchers on FanDuel and DraftKings. The main difference between the two scoring systems here is what pitchers actually receive points for. In DraftKings, things like walks and hits allowed matter. FanDuel really only looks at earned runs allowed, strikeouts, and innings pitched. Because of these differences, we might expect pitchers with a low ERA who pitch more innings or who throw a lot of strikeouts to be more valuable on FanDuel. Similarly, we might expect pitchers with a low whip to be more valuable in DraftKings. I don't want to go into too much more detail on why these differences matter yet. I just want you to start thinking about them a bit so you can keep them in mind as we build up more detail on the topic. In my next video, we're going to be discussing the different game modes offered by FanDuel and DraftKings. Similar to the scoring differences, we will then dive into how these differences in rules are going to impact our lineup creating strategy. And if you do want to play along and enter some FanDuel lineups as your own as we conduct this investigation, you can use my FanDuel referral link down in the description to get a $15 deposit bonus. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell icon while you're down there too, so you can keep following along as we build our DFS optimizer. And I'll see you next time.